Welcome back to the Vegan Test Kitchen, everybody. Today we are making tofu Florentine and a lot of other food. So including in this recipe is broiled tofu, cheesy sauce, diner home fries, and my stomach is growling at the idea of eating all of that. So let's get started. Here's what you're gonna need. For the diner home fries, you're going to need 1 onion, 1 green bell pepper, salt, pepper, vegetable oil, tomato for garnish and to eat, 4 to 6 Yukon gold potatoes or about 2 pounds. You're also going to need 2 bunches of spinach or about 1 pound, olive oil and broiled tofu and cheesy sauce. And the ingredients and the recipes for those are right here. Now let's get started. All right, since we have like 3 different recipes going on right here, I would suggest to make some of this in advance. If you don't and you make all of it in one day, I will pepper throughout the video when you should be doing what. I obviously didn't do it like that, so it'd be just a guess, but we'll try to give you the best times for all that stuff. So the first thing you want to do is chop the potatoes for the diner home fries. Now, it did not say to skin these potatoes, so what I'm going to do is just peel off some of the unsavory parts. So we're going to cut them in half first and then chop them in those slices. All right, now let's put this pot on high, put these potatoes in there, fill it up with water, and then wait for it to boil. Let's cover it up too. All right, while that's boiling or about to start, let's chop the vegetables. We're boiling, so let's turn it down. We're gonna boil this for about 15 minutes. Let's see how good this tomato is. That's not too bad. That's actually one of the best tomatoes I've had in February, because I usually have a really hard time finding good quality tomatoes in the winter. Really any time anymore. Unless you go to a farmer's market, I feel like you will never get a good tomato anymore. All right, let's check this because you want it to be pierceable with a fork and still firm. Yes, it's definitely done. It might be overcooked. Let's take that off the burner. We're gonna drain these potatoes. We're just draining them and setting them aside. Now we're gonna get a skillet, heat up the oil, which is the vegetable oil, not the olive oil. We're only putting 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil in first, and then we're gonna add the other tablespoon a little bit later. All right, let's stick this on medium. All right, I think we're probably heated up, so let's add the potatoes. I might have overcooked these potatoes a little bit. All right, so now we're supposed to cook them undisturbed for 5 to 7 minutes, and they should be lightly browned. While those are cooking, we're going to wash the spinach. We're gonna cut most of these stems off. This is a lot of spinach. See if this works. Guess what? There's probably gonna be some stems in there unless you wanna take 5 hours to do this, which I'm not going to do. Yeah, they're starting to brown a little bit. It says that they're not browning a lot to turn the heat up, so we're gonna do that. So I want them to brown a little bit faster. Faster, faster. Woo, now they're getting brown. Probably to a point where we're fine. So now we're gonna add the peppers and the onion, salt and pepper, and another tablespoon of oil, vegetable oil. All right, we're cooking this for 5 to 7 more minutes, stirring often until the onions and peppers have lightly browned. So you might be wondering, wow, that looks really full. Do you not have another pan? Yes, you should probably get a bigger pan. So as you can see, this is pretty jam-packed, and I feel like I'm destroying these potatoes in the meantime. Okay, while this is cooking, what I would do if I were you, if you haven't made everything else, I would go ahead and stick the oven on warm, because we're just gonna let the tofu in there just kind of stay warm and not burn. So let's stick the tofu back in there. I would also, if I were you, start on the cheese sauce right now. Look at how much spinach this is. It's bigger than my head. So I've cooked this probably for about 15 minutes at this point, and I don't feel like the onions and the peppers are browning, probably just because everything's jam-packed in there. Everything's cooked. I mean, the onions are getting translucent. and the peppers are fairly soft, so I'm gonna go ahead and say they're done. So what we're gonna do is transfer this into a bowl because we're gonna use this skillet to saute the spinach really quick. All right, we're gonna cover this. Not with that one. Keep it warm while we do everything else. So now let's add oil to the skillet. So this is where you're gonna use the olive oil. Actually, I don't know if you're supposed to use it, to be honest with you, because the olive oil was in the recipe, but it never said when to use it. So I'm guessing right now, even though it didn't say to. And of course, you know, the Amelia Bedelia part of me is, you know, going crazy right now because I don't know if that's right. But we're gonna go with it. All right, so you're supposed to put half of the spinach in there, and it's okay that there's water. And they said it kind of helps the spinach to steam. Can you hear me? So we're gonna put half of it in there first, let it wilt, and then put the other half in there. All right, it's pretty much wilted, so let's put the rest of it in there. So if you buy the bunches like I did, when you cut them and prepare them, be careful because I found a rubber band in there, which there was not a rubber band on them that I saw. So it was probably stuck in there. We probably would have found it when we were cooking it, but still. I've heard of like horror stories of like caterpillars and frogs being in there before, which is really disgusting, which kind of defeats the purpose of, you know, being vegan, so. Almost done. Okay, so since that is almost done, what I'm gonna do, and if you've already made your cheese sauce, you're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna heat it up in the microwave real quick. All right, I think the spinach is pretty much good, so we're gonna turn off the heat. Now, it doesn't say to do this, but obviously when you're cooking spinach, there's gonna be a lot of water that's created, especially if you don't drain them like I didn't. So I'm just gonna press them really lightly. Pro tip, if you're like me and you made your cheese sauce before and you've refrigerated it, add a couple tablespoons of water or as needed when you microwave it because it's pretty thick. Now let's try it. Fork. All right, let's see if I can get one of everything. That's how it do. Delicious. This was in the brunch part of the cookbook. This is like the perfect brunch. You have potatoes, it's like the diner home fries, so you have your potatoes and tofu and cheese and you got your spinach in there. It's really, really good. The only thing I would do different, maybe get a bigger skillet so that more of the potatoes and the bell peppers and the onions are cooked a little bit better, but it's not bad by any means. It's delicious. So I suggest you make this and you will not be sorry if you do. I would definitely make this again. Thanks guys, as always, if you like it, hit the thumbs up. I would love you for it. I'll see you next time. Thanks. You wanna try this? Well, get your own.
Wow.